and entire populations. At its core, Agenda 21 is about control. Control of the land. At its core, Agenda 21 is about control. Control of the land, natural resources, and entire populations. It seeks to control the air by regulation of carbon emissions, the ground by sustainable development, and the sea through environmental regulations. Officially stated, Agenda 21 is a comprehensive plan of action to be taken globally, nationally, and locally by organizations of the United Nations system, governments, and major groups in every area in which human impacts on the environment. Because being human will always have an impact on the environment, Agenda 21 paves the way for extraordinary UN control. When you boil it down, there are 9 basic tenets of Agenda 21. Move citizens off private land and into urban housing. Create vast wilderness spaces inhabited by large carnivores. Eliminate cars and create walkable cities. Support chosen private businesses with public funds for sustainable development. Make policy decisions that favor the greater good over individuals. Drastically reduce the use of power, water, and anything else that creates carbon pollution. Use bureaucracies to make sweeping decisions outside of democratic processes. Increase taxes, fees, and regulations. And finally, implement policies meant to incentivize a reduced population.
This equation has 4 factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to 0. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to 0. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. That's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a
Agenda 21.
Alright, Shalom. I want to start by saying, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahushai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahushai, Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahushai, Ka'alam La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash, and also give honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to Akim Adiyah pushing truth, in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. So I'm back again with, this is just going to be a quick lesson running through scriptures as you heard, the video. So I'm gonna go ahead and get like he mentioned, UN nation. And when you go to book of Psalms 83, it goes into that. It says, Psalms 83 and 1, keep thou no silence, O Most High, hold no thy peace, be no still, O Most High. For lo, thy enemies make atonement, and they that hate thee lift up their head. They have taken a crafty counsel against thy people, and consented against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off, being a nation, and the name of Israel might be no more in remembrance. Okay, so this is what Esau tried to do. He tried this, with the history of our nation by hiding everything, as who the true Israelites were, and then he came in and proclaimed himself being the chosen people, proclaiming himself being the Most High, proclaiming himself being the kings and priests, and being the son of the Most High, Yahweh Shai. He did all that, okay, through by hiding history, right? Even when you go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 25, and verse 7 says, and he will destroy in his mountain, the government of Esau, right? The elites, the face of the covering cast of all people, because they're the ones who found money, who found money into all these whatever it's education, science, scientists, okay, whatever it is, okay, put money in there so they can try to hide the truth of who the true people were, but it could never be done, because pursuant to the book of what is Ezekiel chapter 37, Revelation chapter 11, tells you that, hey, in the days we're living in, you know, we're gonna wake up, right? Receive that living water and start speaking, okay? And stay, be stay on highway and byways in the boldness and bring out the truth. Even the book of Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, I believe, yeah, goes into that. And this was being happening, and that started with Edward Abba Bevan, okay, which you believe that was, John the Baptist coming back or Elijah coming back, So he destroyed this mountain, the face of the cavern cast of all people, and the veil that is spread of all nations, and that has been lifted off ever since the prophets came on the scene. Okay, so Psalms 83, it says, verse 5, it says, for they have consented together with one consent. Okay, the new world order, all right, which is now, going back to even verse 4. Now what they're gonna try to do is, they're gonna hit you with this MOTB, right? And the ones who go ahead and take that, and you ain't gonna be counted as uh you know as the children of Israel. You know, you're gonna be counted as the children of Satan, because you're gonna go ahead, make a uh make agreement with Satan. All right, which is what he's doing right now. And gonna be more in remembrance in this time. All right, the only time you're gonna come back and and know who you are, and it's gonna be in the kingdom. They have consent together with one consent, one the new world order. They are conferred against thee. Yeah, that's when you see these people going to that whole meetings, the UN meetings, Mount, in the summit of UN meetings and all that. This is what they really coming down and doing. All right, it read verse 6 says, the tabernacle of Edom, okay, so-called white people. It's time with the elite, the tabernacle Ishmaelite, the so-called Arabs, the Moab, Chinese, Aragonese, Arabs, Geber, all right, Arabs again, Ammon, Japanese, Amalek, the Megarats over there in the land of Israel, which the Edomites, the Philistines, all right, Philistines also Arab, the Philistines, Hamites, I believe, Philistines, and the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashua, Syria also, in which is Syria, it also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. Okay, so those the top nations you see on the UN, right, and going through those meetings and all that. And um guess who's never presented? Jake. You know, nobody is over there speaking with the tribe of Judah. Nope. Why is that? Because they know who we are. Okay, only our people don't know who they are. All right. Isaiah 10 and 1, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, that wrought grievances which they have prescribed. Okay, and that's Esau. That's what he's doing. That's what he's been doing. And now he's doing that as well with the Agenda 21. Stand aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, taking, your freedom away, that widows might be their prey, and that it might rob the fatherless. And how it gonna rob the fatherless? By taking away essential things you need, and you're gonna have to depend on them. They're gonna make you feel like, you know, you your whole life is depends on them, man. Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 5. The vile person shall be no more called a Libra, which is Esau. The cho said, so the cho said to be bountiful. Let's read that in NLT real quick. All right. He says, in our day, ungodly fools will know be heroes, right? Because in the time we're living in right now, the Jack who's waking up, okay, who's been awakened, they're seeing Esau is no, that nigga no more. The scoundrels will be respected, which is Esau as well. They seeing it, standing up against Esau. You see Jack getting mad. You see Jack getting, aggressive with Esau. Because it's here, man. All right. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity, to practice hypocrisy, to utter err against Yahweh, to make empty the soul of the hungry, which is our people. All right. It will cause the drink of thirst to fail. Let's go into the NLT. It says, for fools speak foolishness and make evil plans. They practice ungodliness. All right, they do that for sure. Let's real quick. Let's go to the book of this is the book of Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity, which is Esau. All right, all their plans is iniquity, sin upon sin, work evil upon their beds in his kingdom of theirs. All right, hey, you on your bed, man, means you are at rest, you ruling. All right, okay. When the morning is light, they practice it, okay, because it is in the hand of their power, or their hand, because it is in the power of their hands. So it's in them, They cover fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. All right, I'm gonna go back to that video. You're gonna see, why I'm reading some of these verses, man. Okay, let's go back to Isaiah 32. It says in verse 6 in NLT. It says, for fools speak foolishness and make evil plans. As we can see, they practice ungodliness. When you see what Esau plan is ungodliness. In our video, everything in there is ungodliness. And spreads false teachings about how shot right. Because everything that talking in our video ain't, what Yahweh shot we want. It ain't what we want. It ain't what our power Yahweh and his son Yahweh shall want, right? They deprive the hungry of food and give no water to the thirst, right? And that's what Esau eventually is gonna do, physically and spiritual. The truth is gonna take away the truth. Verse 7, the instruments also of Cher are evil. Okay? He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak right. By liberal devices liberal things, and by liberal things shall stand. I'm gonna read those two verses in NLT. The smooth tricks of scoundrel are evil. They plot crooked schemes. They lie to convict the poor, even when the cause of the poor is just. Right, man. Because eventually what's gonna happen is this is gonna come with Revelation 13, verse 15, or verse 16, right? Where he's trying to, son is giving you something, all right, but he's not. He's lying to you, okay? Because what he's trying to do is, like Apostle Ramala has said, is take your birthright away, man. But he's not gonna really do it. He can't do it because he can't get to the elects. All right, the elect are built like Job. Okay, that's how the elect are built. The elect are built like Daniel. The elect are built like Yahushua. The elect are built like those seven brothers in the book of Maccabees. You can't go through them. You know, if you know, if you get what that means, man. You read about the people I just mentioned, and you're gonna see, and that's how life is supposed to be and based on. All right, Okay, so Esau is gonna lose by the end of the day, man. Okay, so let's go back here because I'm trying new.
At its core, Agenda 21.
I'm trying, to cut off this. When Bill Gates comes in, he goes into the whole population and he mentioned the viewer, and I think that's how they took down the page I was using. GMS down under Australia. Because down, dude mentioned the V. So I'm trying to, go through it without that being mentioned. So with that, hopefully this right here's edified to you brothers out there, sisters out there. You brothers feel free to, post down some precepts. All right, shalom.
The environment. Agenda 21. At its core, Agenda 21 is about control. Control of the land, natural resources, and entire populations. It seeks to control the air by regulation of carbon emissions.
You hear what she said, right? Control of the land. Micah 2, you know, Micah 2 right there for you, man. Isaiah 10, all them scriptures is read. All right, just you pay attention to it. You get it.
At its core, Agenda 21 is about control. Control of the land, natural resources, and entire populations. It seeks to control the air by regulation of carbon emissions, the ground by sustainable development, and the sea through environmental regulations. Officially stated, Agenda 21 is a comprehensive plan of action to be taken globally, nationally, and locally by organizations of the United Nations system, governments, and major groups in every area in which human impacts on the environment. Because being
And that's Psalms 83, the UN nations.
paves the way for extraordinary UN control. When you boil it down, there are 9 basic tenets of Agenda 21. Move citizens off private land and into urban housing. Create vast wilderness spaces inhabited by large carnivores. Eliminate cars and create walkable cities. Support chosen private businesses with public funds for sustainable development. Make policy decisions that favor the greater good over individuals. Drastically reduce the use of power, water, and anything else that creates carbon pollution. Use bureaucracies to make sweeping decisions outside of democratic processes. Increase taxes, fees, and regulations. And finally, implement policies meant to incentivize a reduced population.
This equation has 4 factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to 0. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to 0. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. That's back from high school algebra, but let's take a look. First, we've got population.
So with the population, he mentions V. Okay, because right here you're gonna see it pop up what he mentioned. Written down. All right. Okay. So with that, like shalom. Okay, because I'm gonna just leave it like that.